This is Chapter 4, Lesson 6, Divide Whole Numbers by Fractions. So, when I divide whole numbers by fractions, I need to first find reciprocals. Okay? So dividing 3 by 1/2 gives the same result as multiplying 3 by 2. Which is the reciprocal of 1/2? Any two numbers with a product of 1 are called blank. In that blank, you're going to write reciprocals. So any two numbers with a product of 1 are called reciprocals. So 1/2 times 2, 1/3 times 3, 3 times 1/3, they're all reciprocals. Okay? So if I'm dividing 3 divided by 1/2 equals 6, I find the reciprocal, which is basically me saying I'm flipping the fraction and I'm changing the sign. So I get 3 times 2 equals 6. Same result. Okay. So when I'm dividing by a fraction, so to divide a whole number by a fraction, I multiply by its reciprocal. So for example, I have 5 divided by 2/3. Okay? I'm going to rewrite 5 as a fraction, so 5 over 1. I'm going to multiply by its reciprocal. 2/3 becomes 3/2. So I get, and then I just multiply like I would with fractions. 5 times 3 gives me 15. 1 times 2 is 2. All right, so let's take a look at some examples. So example number 1 says find the reciprocal of 2/3. Okay. Since 2/3 times 3/2 equals 1, the reciprocal of 2/3 is 3/2. So again, all I'm doing is I'm taking my numerator and I'm putting it in my denominator. And I'm taking my denominator and I'm putting it in my numerator. Okay. Find the reciprocal of 1/8. So my denominator becomes my numerator. So I get 8 over 1, or 8. Find the reciprocal of 5. So I'm going to write the whole number as a fraction. So 5 equals 5 over 1, right? So if I start with 5 over 1, in order to get to 1, I have to flip this. So 1 becomes my numerator, and 5 becomes my denominator. So the reciprocal of 5 is 1/5. Number 4 says find 2 divided by 1/3, write in simplest form. Okay, so I can use two methods. The first method is using a model. So I start with a model and I divide it by 2. Okay, then I divide each of those into thirds. So here's my original break. Okay, and then I divided each of those blocks into thirds. Okay. I can count the total number of sections. There are 6 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2 divided by 1/3 equals 6. Okay. The second way I can use is an equation. Okay. So I take 2 divided by 1/3. I rewrite 2 as a fraction, so 2 over 1, and I multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal of 1/3 is 3. So 2 times 3 gives me 6. 1 times 1 is 1. 6 over 1, or 6. Okay. For number 5, find 7 divided by 2/3, write in simplest form. So I'm going to rewrite 7 as a fraction. So that becomes 7 over 1. I'm going to find the reciprocal of 2/3, which is 3 over 2. So now I have 7 over 1 times 3 over 2. 7 times 3 is 21. 1 times 2 is 2. So I get 21/2, or 2 goes into 21 10 times with 1 left over, so I get 10 1/2. So 21 halves equals 10 and a half. On page 81, there are a couple of try it problems. I want you to go ahead, pause the video, and when you're done, we will go over the answers together. All right, now that you've tried the try it problems on your own, let's go over the answers together. Letter A says find the reciprocal of 3/5. Okay, so I have 3/5 times something will equal 1, right? So I need to figure out, I need to change this. So my reciprocal is 5/3. For letter B, find the reciprocal of 1/3. So the reciprocal of 1/3, since 1/3 times 3/1 would give me 1, 3/1 is my reciprocal. Okay, and then find the reciprocal of 11. So 11 can be written as 11/1. What I can get to multiply to get me 1 is 1/11. So 1/11 is my reciprocal. Okay. Letter D says 6 divided by 1/3. So I'm going to rewrite 6 as a fraction. Multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal of 1/3 is 3/1. I'm going to multiply 6 times 3 gives me 18/1, which is just 18. Okay. Letter E says 5 divided by 2/3. I'm going to rewrite 5. So 5 becomes 5/1. My reciprocal of 2/3 is 3/2. Multiply straight across. 5 times 3 is 15. 1 times 2 is 2. So this is 15/2, or 2 goes into 15 7 times with 1 left over. So 15/2 or 7 1/2. Letter F, 4 divided by 3/4. So again, I'm going to rewrite 4 as a fraction. So 4/1, multiply by the reciprocal. Reciprocal of 3/4 is 4/3. So I get 4 times 4 is 16. 1 times 3 is 3. So I get 16/3, or 3 goes into 16 5 times with 1 left over. So I get 15 1/3, or 5 1/3, or 16/3. And that is the end of lesson 6.